Tout, c'est Marina Satti sur le player de la Tsugi Radio. C'est un tout nouveau single qui vient tout juste de sortir ce vendredi et Marina Satti est à mes côtés dans notre petit studio mobile ici à Clermont-Ferrand. Bonjour Marina Satti.
Bonjour.
Tu parles un petit peu français.
Je peux parler mais je suis très lente. Je veux faire l'interview en anglais.
Ça marche.
S'il vous plaît.
Let's switch to English.
Okay.
Tout, with this new single compared to your album Yena that was released in last year, you get back to a more, pulsy sound, more raw sound. Why this vibe on this single?
I think that artists and people actually who write their songs, because I write my songs, I produce my songs. Actually, this song, Tout, I did with an amazing French producer from Paris. His name is Lubensky. I don't know if you know him.
Yes.
He's like top of the top. I think so, our creations portray exactly the phase in life where we are right now. I had this album released last year called Yena, which actually means La Naissance. And it's a very symbolic title because it was actually, my first album, first time I got into this creative process to make something complete. And, with all the phases that a birth includes, the happiness, the sadness, the crying, the everything. And I feel like it was some sort of rebirth for me. I feel much more, I don't know, more fun and more not thinking so much, overthinking. Tout, of course, incorporates elements from the Balkan culture and from the Greek culture, the zurna instrument. Mm-hmm. But for sure, the intention is much more aggressive, if I can say, and much more fun and, not overthinking and not having doubts and,
So you're from Greece. Your father comes from Sudan.
Exactly.
And you incorporate all that into your music. And on Yena, you did this kind of a journey throughout Greece, a little bit in a documentary style, where you went to, participate in parties in villages or concerts and sing with the women. What does this journey help you achieve as an artist?
I always had this need to search my identity because I grew up in Greece. My father was Sudanese, as you said. I grew up in the 2000, millennium, where we were all listening to pop music and hip-hop music and watching MTV, but at the same time we were in Greece. Mm-hmm. I always tried to see how all these elements could be able to come together. So the identity research was always the first need for me. So I started traveling all over Greece. I met with the people. I actually released a documentary 3 weeks ago. It was the 1-year anniversary actually of Yena release. Mm-hmm. From these images from the village of Laburo, which is in the north of Greece, almost close to Bulgaria, where, I went there, I stayed, I recorded with the musicians, I lived with them. And also the intention was to put all this into the visual part of the project, the videos. And I don't know, I realize the more we travel abroad and we play in festivals and we meet people like you, for example, that they had another impression about Greece. They know about Mykonos, they know about the Acropolis and the ancient times, but not so much about the culture that is going on right now. So it's interesting to share these images and these sounds with the people, and I feel it connects. It makes us connect.
We know about all this, and maybe we don't know as much as the popular culture and the folkloric culture in Greece.
Exactly.
It is very important. Singing is very important, and you've recorded for one video of the album a video clip where you sing with 150 women.
Exactly.
And it's a very strong thing in Greece, women singing together for all occasions. Why the need to put that into your project and to bring those women into the light? So
the polyphonic, as you say, people singing together element is very present in the music of Greece and also of the Balkans. Mm-hmm. In general, people though, not women necessarily. Mm-hmm. For me, because I always like to add a social commentary, not necessarily commenting, but like just showing and let people comment or think on their own. I'm always about, even with the band here, I'm going to sing with Fones, which is like a female group, vocal group that we have built since 2016. Then also in Greece, I run a very big female choir called Chores, which consists of 200 female singers. And it's general, all this, the position and the role of the woman in the society in the Eastern world, either through, the experience that I have in Sudan, where my father comes from, or in Greece, is something that really touches me as a topic, because also when I was growing up, and especially that I was growing up in Crete, in a very small island not so small, but in an island anyway in the south of Greece.
In Heraklion.
In Heraklion, exactly. The communities and the society is very small, so there's so much guilt when I was growing up, of how a good girl, how a proper girl should be.
You say guilt.
Guilt, exactly, yeah. Like how to dress up, how to talk, how to be a good girl, how to be a pure girl, And I feel that all this also had to do with this how I say it, like pursuit of identity that I wanted, because who am I really? Am I the person who I have been told that it's correct to dress up like this and talk like that and act like that and not talk to boys and all this stuff? Or who am I really, So after going to America, where I studied at Berkeley, there I started being more like myself. And it's very interesting because you realize that the further you go sometimes from your house, from your safe space where you grew up, the closer you can get to who you really are. So all these images and all this experience brought to the album last year, Jena, and to today, of course, and Tukutum. And I don't know, the more I grow, I feel the more, strong and confident and not being scared, I guess.
So you had to go to America, to Berkeley, because you were looking to pop music and R&B and the Western world, and it helped you get back to your own country in a sense.
Yeah, actually not pop and not R&B, but jazz is what I studied at the time. I started studying actually classical music when I was 5 years old, and then around 20 I started, actually 18, I started studying jazz, so I got a scholarship to go to Berkeley. But when I got there, as you said, I was like, okay, nobody's waiting for me, a girl from Greece, to come to America and sing jazz, and what new do you have to bring? I didn't feel that personally I had to bring something in that community and society that is so multicultural. So, people were like, how's the music from your country? How's the culture? So I was like, okay, this is the songs, this is the language. I started singing, and then I started getting much more into this culture. I don't know how it is in France, but at least for me and my friends and my generation, it was always very cool to be westernized and like American, MTV, brands, fashion and stuff like that. And I thought it was really uncool to embrace the roots when I was younger. But after, I found so much charm and depth, and like it's very heavy. I feel heavy, not in a bad way, but very thick and very compact. All this culture that we have that goes back in centuries, and it almost smells like all the generations of people that have existed before us. So for me, it's like my complete passion at the time to get to know this more and more, and to travel, to be with people, to learn not only the music, but just to be with people and the social aspect of it.
And it's probably your role as an artist to help shed a light on your culture and your music.
I mean, I don't know if it's my role, but for me, it's the thing that makes me be interested and have the motivation to do it, because it can be hard at times, all this process, and being exposed to many people and expressing yourself in public. But for me, this is basically my main thing that keeps me going, and especially when we come abroad and we play in festivals like EUROPAVOX in front of so many people and international people, it feels like a huge honor to be able to be here and singing Greek and have people like vibe and dance and have fun with this and get emotional, and it's crazy. I would never imagine being able to do that.
Things are sort of changing because in the pop or R&B world, people, like you said, were looking to Britain or the States and sang in English. It is kind of changing. In France, people sing more in French now than they did 15 years ago. Rosalia, of course, at some point, she's often mentioned on this show, that, like what she did with flamenco and singing in Spanish. So you're pretty much doing the same thing with Greek culture, singing in your own language and trying to, show something that's your own, like you said.
Yeah, well, I started this in 2016, 17. It's a thing that I've been working on for a long time. I feel you're right. The world is open to accept new things, and actually not only open, but I personally, as an audience, I need it. I'm not into English, American stuff anymore, or the images. I feel we've seen it a lot, and it's we cannot be surprised anymore. I'm very interested in listening to artists from France, from Belgium, from Italy, from Spain, as you said, or I don't know, Bulgaria, Turkey, and learn about new things and be, much more inspired with the new images and sounds. But it's interesting. I don't know. Can people hear us with this music on the background? Perfect technical possibility. Anyway, for me, to be honest, it has been hard to do it from Greece. Also,
why on an economic standpoint? Or?
Also on an economic standpoint, because it took me a while to be able to create this project. As I said, I started in 2016 and 2017, where I released Madisa, which had this urban vibe, but also Balkan vibe. But then, in order for me to be able to create a full project, a full album, not having money to support that, and to create this project, or traveling to France and wanting to work with producers or production companies here to collaborate with directors, but not being able to keep up with the financial standards over here, I had to sell, to be completely honest, my grandfather's piece of land with olive trees to be able to do this. And people don't realize this sometimes, that Greece is in Europe, but it's really hard to be competitive in the Eastern world. So it took me some time to be able to do that, but let's see now. Let's see how it goes from now on.
There's also something else in your music, is that we can feel that the music that inspires you, all this folkloric music, it comes from the regions. It comes from Greece, but also from Turkey, and also from all these parts of the world. And like the music and the instruments you use were born before the borders between countries.
Exactly, but also the music, because you mentioned Greece and Turkey. The borders actually of Greece have been set, I don't know, 200 years ago, or in some regions only 100 years ago. Crete was added to Greece. I don't know how to say the correct word. Like in 1913, almost 110 years ago. So the history of the culture and the civilization and the music and the arts is much older than the borders of the nations and of the countries. So that's why we share so much, so many things: the sounds, smells, food, personality, mentality. All the people from the Minor Asia, the Middle East, the Balkans. For me, we're like is brother vibes, for
brother
sure.
Vibes. So for you, EUROPAVOX is kind of the perfect festival.
Actually, yeah, we had the Arte sessions yesterday. Oh my God! I also met Sidrim.
Broadcasted
Exactly.
in July.
I met many artists yesterday. I really love their music and I followed them. Also, very big artists from France, like Aurel San.
Aurel San tonight,
yeah. Mariel also, I happened to meet her a couple of months ago in Paris. I like France and I like Paris a lot. I like the vibe. I feel it's the perfect city in Europe for the music that I do, because there is so much exotic elements here and such a blend with the Arabic culture, with the African culture, the European French culture. So that's why I come here often, try to do my thing also.
So last question, you live in Athens.
Yes.
How is it to be an artist in Athens today?
I guess as it is to be an artist anywhere. I mentioned, the practical difficulties that I have, but at the same time, I can be closer to the roots that inspire me to do my project. So I love being there. But I think that the second challenge for an artist, apart from the practical, issues, is a personal journey, a personal pursuit of identity. Who are you? What do you want to do? What do you want to say? So I feel that even when I was in France, or even if I compare to friends and artists from other countries, they have the same challenge. It's personal. The half of it is personal, and the half of it is practical. How to put what you are into sound, into visuals, and to be able to share this and communicate this.
Thank you so much, Marina Satti.
Thank you.
It's really inspiring to hear you say all those things about music and culture. This is why we do what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We're going to listen to a track from the album that's called Pali. Maybe you could give our listeners a little teasing advice to what they're going to hear.
Okay, so Pali means again.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks about all these cycles, relationships, situations in life where you go in and you think it's going to work, but then you're scared, this fear of commitment, and you're like, no, it's not going to work. But then you're like, let me try once again, this constant in and out and on and off, and basically plus and minus. I always like to have this light and shadow contrast anyway.
Roots and urban.
Exactly, why not? Old and new, or anyway. So that's what the song speaks about.
Thank you so much, Marina Satti.
Thank you very much.